Oh yeah.
Hello, 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 Emma. Thank you so much for being here. I am so honored to dive into this conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super pumped, Nicole. Thank you.
Yeah, so we've been talking a little bit offline. So I would love for you to share with our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you're up to in this world. And yeah, just tell us a bit about yourself.
I love those questions. They're so broad.
Yes.
Who am I? Like I feel like I want to have like a Lion King moment. Like you don't even know who you are. Like,
Yes, it's so true. Who are you today? Who are you
who am I
becoming?
today?
Yeah.
Now there's a song. No, so I'm Emma G. I'm a singer, songwriter, entertainer, musician, author of the book My Life, My Songs, My Healing, and a youth empowerment coach through songwriting and music. The reason, which is a new thing, it's a new business that I launched maybe 18 months ago before the pandemic, and then I sort of started to take it really seriously when the pandemic hit, simply because, I have been writing music from a very early age. I started writing and making up songs when I was 4, started writing songs when I was 5,
Wow.
recorded my first song and released it at the age of 10. And songwriting has always been that thing that has helped me heal, grow, and understand myself better to then communicate better with the outside world. And I think now more than ever, given the climate, whether it's politically or socially or educationally or health-wise, this is the time when teenagers in particular need just that little bit extra to help them feel validated and learn more about how to be themselves, right?
Yes.
So that's what I do. I'm a coach. But I'm a musician first.
Yes.
My thing is, like, I want to save the world one song at a time. That's been my philosophy forever. And yet I realized how selfish that was, and I was like, well, actually, I'm 32 now. The youth have a powerful voice, and we need to be supporting that and elevating those voices. So let's save the world a zillion songs at a time and just help young people be their best selves.
I could cry right now.
Don't cry. I mean, unless they're happy tears.
Yeah, they are. They are so happy. It's just so powerful to hear how, I mean, and not selfish. I feel like there was a really good vibe to that. But when you say help at a zillion times, like just the ripple effect and the compounding of that, of intention. Yes, 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 yes. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, you saw it. I'm trying to remember her name right now. You saw it with, Amanda Gorman, who did the inauguration poem, this last week. And it's evidence, right? It's evidence that we are in this together, and the young people bring a certain pizzazz, a certain flavor, a certain magic to the world that us, myself as a youth worker, my only hope is that I can just help elevate, help blow that up a little bit with regards to the languaging, the self-understanding, the self-awareness that that we need now more than ever.
Elevating. I just did a master class called Elevate Your Self-Love. So this word is just zinging with me so much. And I'm just like,
we're so in alignment.
We're so much in alignment. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for saying that. So I would love for you so thank you. Number one, thank you so much for bringing that forward and for doing that really important work. And I would love for you to just share with us, and maybe this is where you can share your story of becoming to where you are now and why this work is so important for you. But I'd love to hear also why you believe it is important to help elevate the youth into understanding and having that self-awareness, because I think that is such a beautiful piece of what you are bringing forward and bringing into the world. So I'd love to hear how you kind of bring all of that together and help youth do that.
That's such a large question.
Okay. Well, because here, when we first met, you had said like something that was so powerful. It's intense time in our youth. And I know for me, a lot of the stuff that happened in my youth, I'm playing out or can be playing out in my adult years, if you want to say. And the stuff that can stick without having that self-awareness or having a mentor or having a way to process and to elevate and bring that forward. So I remember having that conversation with you and going, whoa, like, yes, we need more of this.
For sure, for sure. I mean, it's funny because I think we have a tendency to overanalyze in a lot of ways when realistically it's really simple. The society that we seem to have built, specifically in America, and I know that you're in Canada, you know, in the Western world, in the developed world, and I fucking hate saying developed world because I grew up in two different countries, New Zealand and Fiji is considered an underdeveloped world, but yet the amount of happiness and gratitude that Fijians have compared to your typical American is, you know, America pales in comparison.
Right. Yeah.
So it depends on what your idea of development means, but I think it's complicated because I was born before the internet, and so the internet came to New Zealand, I think, when my mom was ahead of the game when it came to getting the net hooked up, but we didn't get the internet until I was 7 or 8, and so I had already established like a sense of who I was, right? I knew on my 5th birthday that I was going to be, and I'm not kidding, I made a list of being a counselor, a teacher, a mom, a rock star, and a fashion designer.
Whoa.
Now, I haven't got children, but I've definitely been a youth worker for a long time. I've definitely been a teacher for even longer. And I've certainly been writing and recording music for more than half my life. So, you know, it's that sense of identity, I think, is really something that I was blessed with as I was growing up. However, anybody who was born in the last 15 years has had to kind of grapple with figuring out who they are, how they fit into the world, alongside things like MySpace, Bebo, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Not that Twitter is really a thing for young people, but you know what I mean. So we've drowned out this ability for young people to actually just have honest conversations with themselves, because we've become addicted to this highlight reel of everything's fucking perfect all the fucking time. And so there's no honoring your true feelings. There's no honoring your true hopes, your fears, your dreams. It's all just like, look at me, I'm on a beach, or look at me, I'm hustling on the grind, whatever it is, and we forget that we're not fostering that health anymore, that mental, emotional health anymore. So we've got these young people growing up with no outlet. And that was my thing, is I didn't feel like I had an outlet. So I turned to songwriting. I turned to the only way that I knew how. And this is coming from somebody who's, I had my first brain surgery at the age of 4 months. I was first sexually assaulted at the age of 5. I have been raped twice in my lifetime, sexually assaulted multiple times, have been in domestically violent relationships. I have been homeless. I have lost friends to suicide. I've been suicidal myself. I have had drug addiction, and I'm a pretty well put together human being, and I'm incredibly blessed. My mother did a lot for me. And so now we're seeing this trend of not just young people who are either less fortunate or the other extreme are so fortunate that they don't have that they still lack that connection because their parents are busy, or because they've got too much money that they don't know what to do with, or they're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or there's all these things. So when you give them an opportunity to express themselves in a way that's really authentic and real, like songwriting, that's when the powerful shifts can happen for them. And that's why I really hold what I do to a high regard, and why I love what I do so much, because I'm able to help foster their well-being, their health, their emotional health, their mental health, their even their physical health, because when you're down, it impacts severely on your physical health. So yeah, that's why I do what I do. Sorry, that was a very roundabout way to answer your question.
No, it was perfect. It was perfect. It was everything and more. And just there's so much beauty in everything that you had shared. I mean, I was like trying to write it down and trying to, like, it was like everything was coming. I was like, okay, no, next. Keep going.
Rapid about empowerment. I love it.
But just the importance of fostering their mental and emotional well-being. It's something that I know in my time as a social worker and a coach, there's this weird, like, there's no connection with our self. And if there is, then we're not sure how to understand it or to process it. We didn't go to school for it. Nobody's teaching this alongside math and science. So just kind of understanding these fundamentals of who we are and our identity. And it can feel at times as though there's no room to make a mistake. There's no room to mess up. And when these horrific, traumatic experiences are happening, not having a safe a safe space to be able to just process it, I feel is such, I feel like that is like the most impactful thing in my life. I often reflect back and go, this happened in my life. So, how did I move through that? What was the significant thing? And I can go back and think of, even up until last week, I was sharing with you, was a very difficult week for me. Yeah. And what got me through was the ability to reach out and say, I can connect and I can process, and I was resourcing and I was just talking it through. And it definitely wasn't songwriting. I have actually never wrote a song, but I do sing, and it is a form of healing for sure. But I can just see the process of being able to take that experience and tell a story and know that it's going to somehow impact other people, but more importantly, understanding the self and having that self-awareness to go, okay, like, it's okay. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I think it's in two parts, right? Like, one is, it depends on who you ask. Some people will tell you that it's the age of Aquarius that have just recently come through, but I think there's a definite shift recently. Sorry, I've got a cat on my lap, so that's why my shoulders keep moving. She's like, oh, you're sitting down? Let me just love on you real quick. But I think there's two parts. Like, one is we're learning as a society, and I hate saying as a society because I'm speaking specifically to American society at the moment, white American society specifically. And because I think a lot of other societies, like I mentioned before, with Fiji, for example, being an exception to the rule, is that, we as a society are only just beginning to realize and recognize and celebrate that it's okay to not be okay, right? And that it's okay to be vulnerable, and that it's okay to feel the feelings, and it's okay to break, and it's okay to not be your perfect self, because you've got the rest of your community to support you, or you've got God to support you, or you've got, your family to support you. We don't necessarily, like, American society tends to be very much like, we've got it together, we've held our shit together, and how dare you break, right? So that's part of it. The other part of it is that I think we also have sold ourselves this lie that we need to be perfectly put together in order to contribute to the world, right? And and in no way am I saying that that isn't ideal. You know, you can't come to a relationship and be like, oh, you complete me, you're my other half. You know, realistically, two wholes make a better whole. You know.
I agree.
But in saying that, you know, that still doesn't mean that you can't give yourself room to grow, room to breathe, room to develop yourself. So that's why songwriting can be so wonderful, because it allows you to recognize the holes in yourself, share those holes, because that's a weird way to put it, share those holes. But you know, share those indiscrepancies, shall we say. You know, share those parts of yourself that are maybe a little bit darker than you wanted to share, but do it in a way that is empowering. And that's one of the magical things about the alchemy of music and songwriting, is that the process that I take my students through, my clients through, is that we not only write songs about real shit, but we write songs in a way that's empowering. So, you know, I've got one client who recently was telling me all about how they're scared about, you know, especially in isolation, because isolation is so, you know, lonely and scary and depressing for young people. And so she's talking to me about like, oh, I don't know what my friends are saying about me behind my back, and you know, it's so hard because I don't see them and their body language and da da da. And so as a result, we had this beautiful opportunity to write this song about, okay, I don't know what my friends are saying, and I'm worried and I'm scared and I'm depressed and I'm anxious, but this is where the alchemy kicks in. But I love myself and I'm doing the best that I can.
Oh, yes.
Right. So writing a song about like, okay, so I may not be good enough for them, maybe, but I'm good enough for me, and ain't I the shit? You know, like, isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Because I'm awesome. Yes. You know what I mean? So that's the great thing about songwriting, is that we can literally rewrite the narrative in a way that's empowering, because everyone likes music.
Yes.
You know, you can go to a TED Talk, you can listen to a podcast, and you can do whatever. But when it comes to, and which is great, I love TED Talks, I love podcasts, I love everything. I specifically just ordered an iPhone so that I can get involved with Clubhouse, for example. But you know, at the end of the day, music touches lives, music changes lives, and if you can write the theme song for your life in a way that turns those self-deprecating thoughts and ideas into something that is powerful and empowering, that's a win.
Whew. Yep. I'm just going to take a moment here to pause and just to collect all of my emotions.
Okay, I'm hugging you through this.
Yes, thank you. It's just, you know, when I was in social work, I worked a lot with young moms, so moms under 25. And, you know, so we're dealing with youth as well. And, you know, to be able to just, everything that you said, to be able to rewrite the narrative, and to come out.
I'm sorry for making you cry.
It's okay. It's beautiful. To say like, I love myself and I'm doing the best that I can. Like, I just feel like those two things describe everything that I'm about. And it's just hitting me in my heart, because I just, you know, people come together because we're on the same mission. We have the same alignment. So I'm just sitting here in awe going, wow, like the way that the universe brings people together, and also to hear your story. Because when I think about our listeners specifically on the podcast, most are mothers, I will say. I don't know for sure if all of them are. And I think that in a time like this, I think there's an overall feeling of feeling powerless, especially with feeling so sad for the way that things are, especially when it comes to isolation in the pandemic, and wanting to do the right thing, whichever that may be. And then also going, wait a minute, like my child and my tween or my youth are missing critical points in their life. And how can I help? How can I create a space? And so I just feel like what you had described is exactly, well, you know, My daughter's 2.5, so she might not be writing a song right now. She goes, blah, blah, blah,
Give her 2 years. Give her 2 years.
I know.
No, it's funny that you say that, because I think, so as well as being a songwriting coach, I've also been an artist coach for, a couple of years. I run a musicians collective called the Capital Groove Collective. And one of the things that they constant, like I'm the queen of slogans and my own little like hallmark quotes. And one of those hallmark, they're emoji quotes. One of the quotes that I say is, take the bullshit, plant a garden, use it as fertilizer. And, and so that in and of itself, take for example, something extreme. Take the fact that I've been raped, right? And I've recognized that me saying that so candidly is a little bit jarring for some people. I want people to recognize that I've done a lot of work to transform the bullshit into fertilizer and figure out what I can do that is empowering empowering me with that experience. So, for example, one of the things that I have chosen to take from this is, owning my body, reclaiming the strength of my femininity, reclaiming the strength of what how important my voice is. And so when I'm working with young people, and I say this candidly, because just because your teenager is still a child in your eyes does not mean that they are not going to experience crap. I was 12 the first time I was assaulted, or the first time I was raped, rather. I was 15 the second time. So, it's not like life doesn't be like, okay, she's ready to be,
right.
And so when it comes to isolation, how can we rewrite the narrative on what that means for our young people? I think it's a great opportunity for our young people to learn how to love themselves and their own company. How to, be content with their ability to just be with themselves. How to take this time to not only, invest in their education, but also to invest in their spiritual education, learn how to meditate, learn how to, work out their bodies and be healthy, and learn how to cook at home, because what we feed ourselves becomes ourselves. All of these things that, sure, we rely on our school system to look after. However, there's so many things our school system does not cater for. In fact, and I'm sure you're aware of this, our school system, our Western school system, is still based on 18th century principles, where we are teaching our kids to be more drones, to go to work, to pay, to build somebody else's dream. Now that we're at home all the time, help your child build their own dream. Help them become a freaking rock star. Help them to write their own freaking songs that change the freaking world. So, sorry, I'm so passionate about what I do, and I may be drinking coffee right now. So
I appreciate it. I want it all, because this is the passion that I think we need. Like you had said at the beginning, now more than ever, this is the passion. And it's this beautiful space of navigating the really difficult times and being able to take the bullshit and put it into fertilizer. Like that is what I believe is such the most powerful, empowering space to be in. And navigating that on days that when the fertilizer isn't working out, like you get to be, it's okay. We can feel the feelings. And I just think that's where we're at in this space. And so I really appreciate you sharing all of those pieces. And I'm curious, if you were to, if we've got young people listening, or we've got moms who've got young people, what would you want them to just kind of, working with everyone that you're working with right now, and where you're at in the world, what would you want to share with them today, just to kind of hold on to? You're very empowering, you are very passionate. What words of wisdom would you love to share with our listeners today?
Words of wisdom. I think I mean, there's so many things, and it really is on a case-by-case basis, but on a secular level, I guess, is recognizing that you as a songwriter, or as a wannabe songwriter, or as somebody who's going through transition, or somebody who's going, when I say transition, I mean like difficult times, you have the answers in you. You know, this last year, believe it or not, and for those who don't know me, we're like, okay, obviously, but for those who know me, might be a little bit surprised by this. But you know, this last year, I've discovered the power of God and the power of you know, church. And one of the things that the church that I've been attending has taught me has been that God doesn't give us anything that we can't go through, that we can't thrive through. So my words of advice as a result of that would be like, we don't go through it, we grow through it.
Yes.
And what better way to grow than to create?
Ooh, yes.
Right? And what better way to create than to create something that doesn't just help you, but also consequentially helps the rest of the world, whether it's your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, your uncle, the neighbor down the street. It doesn't matter. Like, if we are growing, if we personally try to improve on ourselves 1% every day, by the end of the year, like exponentially 1% every day, by the end of the year, we've like grown 34,000%. If we do the same thing with our songwriting, with our creation, with our growth and development, if we are impacting one person exponentially, 1% every day, let me rephrase that. If we are touching the lives of one person exponentially every day, who knows the impact that we can have on the world?
Yes.
We're powerful, as Marianne Williamson says, we're powerful beyond measure.
Yes.
You know, and you have the answers in you. And we know that because God has made you in his perfect image. So, you know, that's a lot of, maybe that was maybe 5 or 10 pieces of advice, but you know, it's all joined together.
It's words of wisdom, and I absolutely have the same belief too around just that exponential. You know, if I help one woman, if I help one mom, if one woman hears this today and shares with a friend, and then that friend shares with some, and then, you know, just that love and that intention is what I live for. It's that ripple effect. It's that compounding surge of energy that just goes, oh yeah, maybe today I can do it differently. You know, that's what I live for. So, oh my goodness, I feel like you and I could probably talk a lot. Thank you.
Sing songs.
Yeah, we could sing songs. Oh my goodness, maybe we could set up another one, and then it'll be my first time singing on the podcast. People will be like, oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Why don't we could almost do like a live, like, okay, so my guarantee when I'm working with clients is, and I know this is like, seems a little bit far-fetching, but every 1 hour session that I have with a client, I finish a song. We finish a song together.
What?
So within 1 hour, like, songwriting is my superpower. That's what I do. Youth work is my other superpower. I know this because I've won awards for both songwriting and for youth work. And so if I can combine that, and, you know, at the end of each session, at the end of each hour session, we have a fully completed song. My challenge for you is that for the next podcast recording that we do, let's write a song together.
Oh my, isn't that incredible? I have goosebumps everywhere where I didn't think goosebumps could be. Like on the tips of my toes. Is that possible?
Oh, okay. I take that.
That is like full body chills. Okay, that is so cool. I'm in. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Let's go.
All right. So you heard it here first. This is happening. So I just want to thank you so much. I'm going to post everything below where they can find you. But if you would love, I would love for you to share your Instagram handle. You're on Instagram, Facebook, just so they can hear it. And then I'll put the links below. Yeah,
for sure. So I'm Emma G Music on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, I think.
There we go. Cool.
And of course, if you have a young person that you want to work, have work with me, it's workwithemag.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So grateful, so honored to have you here. And now I'm really excited to have you back even more. Thank you so much.
Yay! Thank you.